we take a look at the stats. Possession in favour of the United States, as was the shots. But the scoreline in favour of Germany at the end of it. Mauricio Pochettino was speaking after the game about Anthony Robinson.
Is Anthony okay? Was it just cramps or is it something more concerning?
What he said or what the medical staff say that is cramps, no cramps. Hope that is cramps. But I cannot be sure that, but what is what they say. But I cannot confirm nothing more.
Let's now welcome in Jurgen Klinsmann, Casey Keller and Herculez Gomez to start more with what we've just seen today. Let me start with you, Herc, on this Anthony Robinson situation. What are your thoughts?
Well, you're obviously worried. You see his quality. You could see it not only with the goal that he scores, but his overall play. And he's coming off a very difficult season in the Premier League, a season that saw him play very little, compared to the first season where he was arguably one of the best left backs in the English Premiership. So you're worried about his health. You're worried about his status. At halftime, I tweeted out, that would be it for the starters. Very good half. And certainly keep them safe for what's to come, which is a game in 6 days against Paraguay to open up your World Cup campaign. And they go back out there. And I thought to myself, dear Lord, baby Jesus, here we go. Fingers crossed. You saw what happened last night. Julio Enciso, the Paraguayan attacker who's 22 years old, tears a muscle. He's going to be out for 3 weeks. You're seeing this more and more. It's a congested schedule. There's international travel. There's different surfaces. There's different types of things going on. You need to find the balance within getting players time and letting them gel together and keeping them safe. So you hope for the best for Anthony Robinson, one, because he's a fantastic player, but two, because the U.S. men's national team desperately needs him.
Always the concerns, isn't it, Jurgen, before these World Cup openers, these warm-up games, that these things can happen?
For the head coaches as well, to give the players enough time to show or prove their points, to get a rhythm, throughout your squad. I mean, I think for an hour we saw a very good game, a pretty even game, and the US, did well. I think, they proved that they can, raise the tempo, they can create chances. It was very pleasant to see it. And then from minute 60 on, when all the kind of substitutions started to come in, the game lost its rhythm. It makes it really difficult. But you have to give players their time to prove their point, their minutes. And nowadays with the new rule now that you can actually in a friendly game or in a test game like this, pretty much you can sub 10, 11 players. Yeah, makes it then even more inviting for the coaches to bring everybody on the field. But then kind of the things that you want to see from your key players, from your main team, it's reduced to the 60 minutes in the beginning. And and then what you definitely don't want to see is an injury. And if you get that injury right now, then it's going to be tricky for that player to come back in the tournament. It depends obviously on the injury. Germany lost Lennart Kahl just a few days ago, and other teams lose other players. As Herc said rightfully, the congested calendar of the clubs, especially in Europe now, the amount of games they play the entire season. It's very, very tricky. So hopefully Anthony Robinson is going to be okay. Hopefully it's only cramps and he's available in 6 days from now.
Yeah, that's definitely the hope, isn't it, Casey? Because that's become the biggest story from the US perspective at the end of this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big story, but I think the other story is over these last two friendlies, I think we're starting to see a U.S. team that we were hoping to see come into a World Cup. Well, look, we knew these last 2 years were 2 years of exhibition matches, 2 years of preseason, of trying to figure out how to get the team ready for that first match in 6 days. And I think we've seen some really good things. Now, what's that next step? That next step is against a team like Germany, where you had spells, arguably, better than Germany had against the United States. How do you then turn that into points? How do you then go from, okay, we messed up on a free kick 2 minutes in, we got the equalizer, worst case scenario, we come out of here with a point. Best case scenario, we keep this momentum going, we get the the second goal. Germany pushes, we get the third. But instead, we're still seeing these little lapses of concentration and not being able to finish things off. That's why I was really excited that they were able to win the game against Senegal, because we've seen too many times the U.S. kind of slip up and concede late. But again, so many more positives than negatives over these two friendlies, and now it's just a matter of going into the World Cup and getting the job done and getting the points needed.
Herc, what did you make of Pochettino's starting 11 today?
Yeah, I really liked it. It's Casey said it. It's 20 months since the debut of Mauricio Pochettino, and we've never had an indication of what his strongest team would be, of a starting 11. They never played together. And sans Miles Robinson, because we already know that Chris Richards will be there. He confirmed to various outlets that he's going to be ready for Paraguay. This is going to be your starting 11 versus Paraguay. Assuming that Anthony Robinson is healthy, this is the 11 that will go out there with Chris Richards instead of Miles Robinson. Now, you can see, obviously, that Tillman is the deepest player. There's a lot of fluidity to Weston McKennie and to Malik Tillman and how they move. Serginho Dest, you kind of see him as a winger, but he plays as a wing back. And then sometimes he's an inverted winger like a double 10. Alex Freeman, you see him as a center back, and then he goes high. There is a lot of movement, fluidity to this starting 11, and I was pleasantly surprised along with Casey. This is a coach who's been a club coach his whole career. And when you're a club coach, you have the Monday to Friday to work on things with players and then execute them on the weekend. As an international manager, you don't have that. Now he has the time to actually work tactically with these players, and you can see how comfortable they are. There are times in this game, in that first half, and I am with Casey. I don't know how much Matt Freese has to do in that goal. He does a wall of 4 instead of 3, so he's expecting the shot. He doesn't come out, the ball placement where it's at. Miles Robinson loses the player. Other than that play, I thought the U.S. men's national team was excellent. They were building out from the back. They put the German national team in their own box for long stretches of the first half. They had countless opportunities. You can go through the statistics. They had more possession than Germany. They outshot Germany. They had 7 corner kicks in the first half. They were all over the German national team. They had tactical issues in previous editions with Mauricio Pochettino. You didn't see that now. And the mistakes that you're seeing under Mauricio Pochettino aren't on Mauricio Pochettino. They're individual mistakes. Miles Robinson versus Senegal. It's Tim Ream and Anthony Robinson versus Senegal. On this game, it's Miles Robinson losing his marker of Kai Havertz. It's maybe Matt Freese. Those aren't on Mauricio Pochettino. What Mauricio Pochettino is supposed to take care of, he's taking care of, and he's putting these players in some fabulous positions. I thought 45 minutes, what we saw was an excellent exhibition from the U.S. men's national team. After the hour mark, I think it's a wash. All it proves is that the German national team reserves are better than the U.S. men's national team reserves, but I was pleasantly surprised with this team.
Sheka, did you see some positive signs from the US today?
I did. To all the points that the guy just made, I thought the US certainly passed the ball well in defense. At times, a little bit nervy. I will admit that they were passing the ball out to the back and in very tight spaces. I thought the Germans could get more of, but the truth is they were never found out. They were able to keep possession and build from the back. There's a lot to be excited about in that first 45 as Herc points out. I will say, though, I am more concerned about this injury to Robinson than, and I guess maybe the guys are letting on or they're seeing. Listen, Anthony Robinson, at his best, Herc mentioned his injury-plagued season, but at his best, he was being discussed as one of the best left-backs in the game. In this lineup, where out of possession, the US want to defend as a back 4 with Anthony Robinson tucked in as that left-back. When they lose possession, or when they have possession, it becomes a back 3. And Anthony Robinson, who has got an engine like few others in the game, playing much higher up the park, almost alongside Serginho Dest. And that allows a lot for Pulisic and Tillman to do in terms of their spacing, what positions they pick up. And that's a huge asset. Now, if Anthony Robinson, it's more than just cramp. If it is an injury, if it does keep him out of the opening game or more, I'm not sure how you replace that kind of running, that kind of quality down the left side, especially down that left side of Anthony Robinson, because of how many options it gives you as you get into the attacking third. that's the downside. That's the bad to this game. Outside of that, there's a lot of good. And while you can look at the scoreline and Germany have won 2-1, you can point to the double save by Baumann. Okay, it was offside, but I think Baumann, between Fries and Baumann was certainly the more tested of the two goalkeepers. So there's a lot you can come away from being happy with, being proud of, that you can build on.
You were judging it on the first 45 minutes of what you saw, Stevie, today.
100%, yeah. I think for the first time ever, I thought I saw a team. You know, and if I'm Pochettino, the biggest thing I'm thinking about now is the way they responded, having gone down so early. Because it could easily have turned into a, oh no, here we go. But they didn't flinch. That's huge. As a manager, to sit there and see your team go behind against one of the giants in Europe, Germany, but don't flinch and get on with it and get after it and take over the game, that's huge. And in my opinion, that's the biggest thing I'm going to take for this game. And as I said, for the first time under Pochettino, today I was thinking, this looks like a team.
Stevie, picking up on the character there, Jurgen, that was shown in that first 45 minutes from the US.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the body language was very positive after the early kind of goal that they conceded. A lot of players showed personality, like Christian Pulisic, great runs. You know, McKinney was all over the place. Balogun, he was always present. He was always close to the German goal, trying to do something, damaging Germany in a certain way. Yeah, they were well connected as a whole unit. I really enjoyed that. And the energy seems to be good, seems to be positive. And that's what you want to take with now into the first game of the World Cup. Yeah, that everybody is excited, everybody is in a good spirit. And what I also liked, you know, even in the second half, after all those substitutions, there were here and there some fights going on the field, that they cared about this friendly game. You know, they wanted to score the equalizer, which they didn't, but still they wanted to show their qualities. And they gave Germany a real game, and yeah, I think from Pochettino's and from US perspective, this is good. It's a good sign, and it's a very, very difficult start next week with Paraguay, very tricky, and therefore, I mean, there's definitely a lot of reason to be optimistic.
Okay, Casey, let's get your final wrap up on what we saw today. What stands out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that you're seeing a U.S. side attack one of the biggest footballing countries in the world, not sit back and defend and try to hold on and look for a set piece or look for a counterattack. In fact, I would have said it was probably in that first half the opposite way around. It was Germany looking to score on a set piece, looking to hit on a counterattack, and it was the U.S. being the progressive team in possession, creating things. And so, yeah, really excited to see that aspect. Now it's that putting it all together. Now it's making sure you're switched on in the first 2 minutes in a set piece. Making sure then when you have that run of opportunities, you take advantage of it. You get the goals when you're in the ascendancy. And then just seeing matches out, finding ways to get results. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for this thing to kick off. It's been a long time since we knew that we were going to be hosting this thing, and it's a little crazy that it's finally around the corner.
Herc?
Yeah, I'm definitely pleased. There are a few things I'm worried about, and it's the physical status of this team, not just injury-wise, but if it is cramp, if Anthony Robinson is suffering from cramp, it's because Mauricio Pochettino wants him to play a certain way. It's high tempo, high intensity. And I wonder if in physical battles against opponents that are physically capable and physically very confident, like Paraguay, if you get into those physical and mental battles, if you're going into their territory, can you play that way for 3 games, 90 minutes? I don't know if this U.S. men's national team has it. What I do know is what I saw today in that first half, if they play out of the back that way against Paraguay, if they take care of the ball that way, and if they limit these naive mistakes that they've been making, they are going to beat Paraguay. If not, they're playing into the hands of the Paraguayan national team, Gustavo Alfaro.